Welcome back to Elden Ring. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at some spirit summons that I believe are incredibly underrated. From what I've seen, a lot of people do not get on with these, but I've tested them, I've leveled them all the way up to +9, and I think they actually come in really handy. But just quickly before we do get into the spirit summons, if you're not currently subbed to the channel, make sure you do sub, turn notifications on. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave a like, all support is greatly appreciated. And if you want to support me further as a creator, then check out the links in the description, and let's get into it. So, these spirit summons are the puppets that are related to Celevis. I have 3 of them, however there are more. One of them that I've actually been locked out of obtaining in this game, or at least in this game's save, is the Dung Eater puppet spirit summon. I progressed way too far into the game to actually get my hands on it, so that's going to have to wait until New Game Plus. I still haven't gone through to New Game Plus. I don't know if I should at this point, so let me know your thoughts in the comments. Do you think I should go through to New Game Plus and get some of the stuff I'm missing? Because I really enjoy putting the builds together, but I don't want to be showing videos and having to explain in every single one this is New Game Plus, so I'm going to be dealing more damage. I'd rather just show you from like the base sort of starting game, so that you get an idea of how powerful it will be when you progress yourself through to New Game Plus. But I do have 3 of these puppets. I have Dolores, the Sleeping Arrow puppet, I have Jar White, and I have Finger Maiden Theralina. A lot of people will not use these. They would rather go for something like Black Knife or Mimic Tear, or even Dung Eater, who is a puppet, but just one that's had a lot more attention than these. So if we start off, I've put them all into my like hotbar sort of thing, like my quick select. So if we start with Finger Maiden, if I summon Finger Maiden and we just go round and get ourselves attacked, not only is Finger Maiden going to like deal damage to the enemies, not a lot of it, but once we've got everyone's attention and we've taken a few hits, Finger Maiden will typically sort of sit back a little bit. But you'll see this ring which Finger Maiden casts, and that is going to heal you. Not only that, but Finger Maiden will throw these like pot things at the enemies, and you'll see whenever this ring is cast, if we wait for Finger Maiden to do it again, you'll see our health goes back up. So it's really helpful in terms of you're going to get your health back whilst you're being attacked. But look at the damage that's dealt. And not only that, because Finger Maiden is leveled up, she's going to be able to take a hit, like proper take a beating. And not only that, she constantly heals herself. So the survivability is really high, not just for the spirit summon, but also for you as well. Because if you're taking an absolute beating, you're really low on health, if you just stay close but avoid the enemy attacks, after time the Finger Maiden is going to do that ring, and you'll go back up to full health. It's not costing you FP, you can still run all your weapons and everything. And I think this, like puppet, the spirit summon, whatever you want to call it, I think it's really good. Next up, we'll take a look at Dolores, the Sleeping Arrow puppet. So if I summon Dolores, however you pronounce it, I'm just going to go with Dolores. Once we go into combat with this spirit summon, you will see the range on this spirit summon is insane. But look at that, gets a hit with a Sleeping Arrow, bear that in mind, gets 2 hits, gets 3, and yeah, that enemy's night-nights. Against the bigger sort of enemies, it might not be that good, but against your like trash mobs, whatever you want to call them, the like basically the grunts, this summon is actually really cool, because it's going to keep attacking them with sleeping arrows from a very good range, so it won't take a lot of damage itself. And I mean, it's not 100% accurate, this is probably the worst out of the 3, but it's still cool. If you've got a decent sized enemy and there's not a lot of enemies, it can really shine as a spirit summon. And there we go, I did have to finish off a lot of the enemies, but now this dude's sleeping, so a nice little crit, and yeah, they're dead. And then finally we have the Jar White puppet, and this one I just think is really cool. If I was to put these into like a list, out of the 3 I have, I would say Finger Maiden is the best because of the healing. I would say Jar White is second because of the status effects. And then I would say that Dolores is bottom just because the sleeping arrows, they can be really tough. Like the sleep build up on Dolores isn't too high. But you'll see right there that Jar White just constantly chucks pots at enemies. And it's really, really fun to use. So it's not about being the most powerful, most overpowered like summons in the game. It's just about having a little bit of fun and mixing it up. So if I get the guy to rally all the troops, you'll see that he's just starting on everyone. And he chucks all these different pots at enemies. But not only that, it can actually... If I try and keep my eyes on Jar White, it can like basically deal some AoE. If he does chuck a pot at any time today, would be amazing. There we go. So you'll see that was a big hit. That was a lightning pot. Then chuck in a poison one, and there you go. Look at that. Explosive, fire, lightning, poison, everything. Jar White just chucks them all. And I mean, providing he's got the range, like you'll see that's quite a lot of damage, especially for a summon. And one that people will say isn't that great. That guy over on the left-hand side just died to something building up on him. I think it might have been poison. Well, there you go, a little bit. Is that frostbite? Because this guy just chucks all the different status effects. And I mean, they're not the strongest by any means, but they're not too weak either. There you go, nice little bit of bleed there. I think that was Swarm of Flies. Look at all of it. They're ticking, they're burning, they're exploding, they're becoming poisoned, they're bleeding, everything. This guy has it all. There you go, look at that blood loss build up over there. That was crazy. That one doesn't really affect the shielded enemies. There we go, a little bit of frostbite. I mean, he does need to... There we go. Get that ticking damage. Look at that. He's ticking, and there we go. So, out of the 3 that I've shown you, I would say the Finger Maiden's definitely the best out of the 3. Like, Dung Eater is probably going to top them all. I know a lot of people are loving Dung Eater at the moment. But out of these 3, I'd say Dolores is the worst. The Sleeping Arrows, like, it's really good range, but Dolores doesn't do well enough to get out of the range of the enemies. So it doesn't stay far enough back sometimes. It's better against a single enemy, an enemy that can sleep quite easily. So more of the grunt types. So Dolores bottom, Jar White middle because it's quite good damage. It's fun to see all the different like status effects being applied with the jars being thrown or the pots or whatever. And then I'm definitely going to put Finger Maiden top just purely because of the healing. If you're a little bit stuck on health and you've got Finger Maiden spawned in, she's going to keep her distance. Like every now and then she will come in and try and get some strong attacks off because she does chuck pots herself. But she's always going to be, like, as long as you can keep her alive and take some of the aggro for yourself, if you're low on health and she does that sort of, like, ring spell cast, then just jump in that and you get some health back. So if you're low on flasks, it's going to be quite helpful. And I know summons like Black Knife and Mimic, they take a lot of damage, they deal a lot of damage, but it's just nice to mix things up in this game and not always run the meta stuff that's really overpowered. But what we're going to do is leave that video there. Let me know your thoughts and stuff in the comments, and I'll see you in the next one. I hope you guys enjoyed it.